Good morning, people. Welcome to the internet or wherever you are on a Saturday morning with Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. Hi, everybody. We're just kind of like tooling around gradually here because people are collecting and coming in, just hit and miss as the program starts there. And my name is Roland from R&D Hotline and Init Mobile. And I'm very happy to sponsor this show and have these grand conversations. And today, the conversation starts with me and my co-host, Molly Youngblood Geiger. So, Molly, if you'd come on board and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, just in case they don't know who Molly, the Google lady, is.
Hey, Roland, thanks. Yeah, my name is Molly Geiger. I am located in Jacksonville, Florida. The name of my agency is Design Right for You, and I participate with Google on several different platforms. I'm a Google Partners Community Ambassador. I'm also a rising star in the Hangouts Help Forum. I'm also a Google Small Business Advisor for the second year in a row, and I'm also a beta tester for search and other products that Google offers. So I'm really excited about our conversation today. Email marketing is an interesting topic because you've got some people that say it's the way to go, and then you've got other people that say, I've got nothing to show because it just doesn't work for them. So I'm really interested to see the conversation this afternoon.
Yes, and I hope a few more people will show up. I know that right now we have at least Gary Whalen out there, and also Barbara Quick made it to the program. And I'm very, very happy to say hi to BQ. So thank you very much for showing up, Barbara. And Gary, thank you guys for showing up. And now this day is going to be fun for me in a couple ways because when we talk about email, people will know I am not the most prolific email marketer. I'm just not into it. And I have a lot of complaints about it, but I analyze it. I do a lot of research regarding emails because it's been the steadfast marketing modus operandi since, since I don't know what, 1980, 1978, or what year?
I would say email marketing's been around since the early 80s.
Yeah,
So,
I mean the ability was about what I was saying there, but it really didn't kick in as far as a mainstream thing until about 1984 or something like that. We were able to do it, but they really made it a business in the early 80s. So exactly that. So when we're considering that, let's talk about emails for a little bit. And one of the things people have known from prior episodes of the Smarties that one of my biggest pet peeves is subject lines. And I hate them. I hate them because I think that they're wildly abused, and it just is an insulting thing to consider. And we'll talk about that in a second. But before we go on, we're saying hi to Lowell Ann. Lowell Ann Fulsang is out there, and I'm really happy to have her watching. She says she's watching from her cell phone. And indeed, it indicates that you're just coming on here. So the system allows you to watch and allows me to tell that you're watching, not specifically, but I can see that the extra viewer just came on. Anyway, I'm very happy to have you here. A couple of disclaimers relative to today. I had some comments in the earlier part of the stream that I wanted to display right from the get-go because we wake Kananda Bandor Rao made a comment and it was just perfect. And I'm going to read it in a little bit, but I can't display it because Comment Tracker decided not to work. I even tried doing a new event and I was going to have everybody redirect if the Comment Tracker worked over there. But not only did Comment Tracker fail to work, lower thirds failed to work too. So I can't even do that for the Smarties show today. So we had our Comment Tracker gremlins and our lower third loonies. And so a couple things are not working, but we're still going to have the show. The show must go on. So back to email subject lines. Here are the ones that I've seen these in the last week or so. Okay. And the first one I list is the one that I probably despise the most. And Molly, this is just a two-way conversation. You can interject. We can just kind of ramble on and interrupt each other as we go. I'm kind of loose about that today because it's just you and me. So here's the first one that I absolutely despise. And if you think of things in the uh, in the audience that you despise, type them in there, and then we'll talk about them as we go. But here's my first one: last chance. Now, when I see that in the subject line, I immediately get riled because usually I'm the first thing I'm thinking is, who the hell is this? And what are they talking about? What is what is this thing that they think that I'm missing out on that I really should be in the midst of? And so, last chance, of course, is made to give uh, the emotional context that, oh, I might lose out, I might miss something, and so last chance drives me nuts. And those of you who use that strategy, I can't be supportive. So, was there something to add, Molly?
I just
Okay.
wanted to comment real quickly. Sorry about that. That Ray Thompson is credited with inventing email in 1972. So
Okay.
email has been around since 1972. Now I think its original application was more practical in terms of business to business. It wasn't necessarily created to use as a marketing technique, but it did eventually evolve into a way to market a business. So going back into what you were talking about in terms of what I refer to as emotional email tactics, last chance, act now, this is your last chance opportunity. Those types of email tactics, in my opinion, don't work because they leave the user feeling like if they don't do something right this moment, they're put in a position where it's a lose-lose. And we don't, as marketers, want to put somebody in that position. We want to leave the door open. And when we give somebody an ultimatum like, this is your last chance, or act now, or you have 24 hours to respond to this offer, it kind of makes that person feel a sense of they have to do something right this moment. I mean, if they can't do it, then they feel like they've lost out. And we don't want to necessarily have that person feel that way. At least that's been my experience. I have kind of an open door policy when it comes to marketing in terms of I want that person to feel included and I don't want that person to feel left out. And so I never really use this type of tactics because it's just a turn off in my opinion.
I'm really glad that you put that up front because, the concept is this is all part of a strategy or a tactic that's basically embedded in basic advertising or sales. And what it is called, I think one of the earliest terms to describe this methodology is called the takeaway clause. The takeaway clause. So what happens is you walk up to somebody and you tell them all about something, and then you build up all this value about why it's so great, and then the takeaway clause is, okay, well, if you're not interested, I'll just remove this from your opportunity, and you can no longer do this. So let's just take this off the table, and then people feel like, well, it's being taken away from me, and the opportunity is no longer there. So when they transfer this to digital marketing, it's basically trying to imply that people have a limited time to respond. So these next all these next um, several subject lines that I have seen lately fit into the very same category as last chance. Door closes in. Okay, so the door closes. In other words, you can't go past the door. It's supposed to evoke an emotional response, right? And Barbara Quick says, last chance makes me feel distrust for the sender. Exactly. So here's another one. 3 days left. 3 days left. That's the same thing. It's like the time's running out. And I love this one. I hate this one and I love to include it in this list. Limited number of seats. Like, okay, we're in a digital world. It doesn't matter who's watching between 50 people or 1,000 people. You don't have to buy a bigger building if you have more people sign up for something like this. And some of the providers have to limit the number of so-called attendees because of the resources involved. But let me tell a disclaimer on that. The resources are cheap. The resources are cheap in internet marketing, and also in you know internet service providers and mobile for service providers. This stuff is all becoming cheap. Space in the digital cloud is becoming very, very cheap, and the resources are becoming very cheap. How do you think that they can offer phone contracts for people with unlimited data? How can they do that? How can they do that? Because there's so much of it, and the power to run it is so prolific that they can offer it and give people unlimited data. Now it's just figuring out how much they can get out of the people price wise. And I can guarantee you that price is going to come, unless the services get so much more profound, the cost of the services become less and less, and it's going to become simpler and simpler. So the providers of these services, well, it's like newspapers are going out of business, and standard snail mail marketing, uh, postcards and flyers are going out of business. So eventually, what we're doing in the internet marketing world is going to be trumped by something in new technology that takes the opportunity away because it becomes cheaper and more prolific in a place where people are now living, residing, and acting. And what we're seeing is the effect of text messages versus email, and that's part of the controversy here. So we'll talk about this more. Oh, we have Susan Joy Schlief in the audience, and I'm really happy that you're here. You and I have to have a conversation sometime, so we'll pursue that when we can. Also, Deborah. Deborah is out there. Conversations with Deborah. Welcome to the program, and I'm glad to have you out there. So I'm rambling about emails, but I was talking about subject lines, and oh my God, a quarter of an hour is almost gone. There are a few other things in subject lines that bug me, because the main thing when they say on a subject line is have to make them personalized, have to make them feel like you're writing the email one on one. Now let's hold it right there. You know, and I know that when you get an email from someone who's in a business, you're getting part of an email blast to tens, hundreds, or maybe thousands of people. There ain't nothing personal about it. But the strategy when you're writing and the email is supposedly to be write it so it's personal, so that the person reading it feels like you're only writing an email to them. So in other words, let's be dishonest enough to make the people feel comfortable. How do we make the people feel comfortable? Even though we're blasting thousands of emails out there, we're going to make them feel like I just sat down on my computer and I just composed this email just to them. That'll do it. And that's part of the strategy in modern email marketing. Well, it's part of strategy in marketing in general, but when we consider email marketing, it's not something that I am very, very strong in. But one of the things that I think about personal emails is, let's be honest. Don't lie to me. So here's one of the subject lines that bugs the crap out of me. I hope you are well. And I don't know this person from Adam. I I have no idea who he is. He's a name connected with something, a list that I subscribed to because I was testing a few things. And I get this email that says, I hope you are well. And I looked at it twice and I thought, wow, I wonder if this is somebody that knows me. So I click on it and it turns out he's just an advertiser. So enough said, right? That bugs the crap out of me. And let's back up because you had a comment to make about the history of email marketing. So go ahead, Molly, if you'd like to
Yeah,
add.
sure. I think it's important to understand the history of email because, like you're explaining, we're talking about spam. You know, we're talking about getting unsolicited emails that we didn't want. And nobody wants to deal with that. We want content that we're interested in. And when you're dealing with a marketer that's spamming you, it turns you off. And so just to kind of back up a little bit, I just kind of wanted to share the history of email. So the very first email was sent back in 1971 by a guy named Ray Tomlinson. It was used for business purposes, so there really was no marketing at all. It was literally sent from business to business. Now, back in 1978, that changed, where a guy named Gary Thurk sent a mass email out to 400 people. And this email was intended for sales, and it did. It accomplished $13 million worth of sales. And so then people started saying, hey, wait a second. We can actually take this email and advertise to people. So from there, it wasn't really utilized a lot in the 80s, but in the 90s it was. It was utilized a lot. In fact, in 1991, the internet completely revolutionized email marketing. And so whenever the internet finally got up and running, the internet started around 1989, but it didn't really take off until the early 90s. But from there, it got so prolific where people were spamming other people. They came up with the Data Protection Act. And this was an effort to help protect people who did not want spam. It just continued to grow and grow and grow until in the early 2000s, they had anti-spam laws being introduced by the U.S. government, and we really had a problem where vendors like Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo Mail, all these different providers who gave free internet or free email addresses, it just became a huge problem. And so I think that's where what you're talking about, the headlines and getting emails from unsolicited people, it really kind of turns a prospect off because they don't know the person. And so I think from there, we have to also consider mobile. Mobile is a brand new way that people can get marketed to, and you can receive emails on mobile. And so I think from there, we have to look at the different ways that people can receive emails. They can get it on their smartphone, they can get it on their tablet, they can get it on their laptop or desktop. But the question, the bottom line is do you want that email? And I think that is a big consideration, because I know earlier on in my agency, I used email marketing, or I should say I tried using email marketing, and it didn't work. It was good for me to reach out to my regular clients, like, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, that type of thing, just kind of a reminder, letting them know, hey, yes, I remember you, I appreciate you as a customer. But in terms of just sending out email blasts to market my services, it just didn't work for me. So I just wanted to share the information about the history of email and my experience with email, that I think if you're going to use email marketing for your company or your business, its best use is just to market towards your existing clients, because they're going to appreciate an email from you versus just sending it out to try and get new clients and leads.
Sounds great. There are several things that you said that I wish I could back up on, and I'll probably have to rewatch my own replay of this event and then come back and ask you some questions. But one of the things you mentioned was that emails are open across the board on several different platforms now, several different devices. And one of the things that I read recently, this is probably as of the last 3 days, when it comes to email being opened, 2/3 of all emails are opened on mobile devices. Now think about that. Email has been around a long time, sure, but everyone's talking about the movement of the Y and Z generations, or the millennials. Everybody that's basically under 30 or 35 years old, they say they're all going mobile. Everything's going mobile. And these generations consider email marketing or emails in general to be passé. So my question to the millennials will be this: do you have an email account? Do you use it? And how do you use it? What value is the email? Is it just so that you can have a Google Plus account, or is it just so that you can have other accounts, or just in case somebody wants to contact you, or do you use it in any way, actual day-to-day use? I would like to know.
One thing I would actually say is a benefit of email is getting feedback from people. Meaning in terms of if you release a new product, a new service, or maybe you've done a marketing campaign, or maybe you just want information from people. We definitely can use email in terms of sending them maybe to a survey or a form to get feedback. So I think that is a beneficial way of using email to gain information from people. But you have to treat email very delicately because you don't want to spam people, you don't want to turn people off, you don't want to pressure people, but at the same time, you don't want to turn off that channel either. You want to use it effectively in terms of letting people, like maybe letting your current existing client base know, hey, I'm here for you. If you ever have a question, feel free to email me. Or if you are trying to get feedback from people. So in that sense, I think email is a good thing. But Google actually is using artificial intelligence with email, or with Gmail rather, in terms of something called Inbox. And if you're using Inbox, which is an app that you can download for your mobile device, it has something called Smart Reply. And you may not know what Smart Reply is. I'll quickly describe what it is. So in terms of artificial intelligence, what it does is it looks at your Gmail account and it looks at some of your typical responses. Well, let's say you're not available immediately to answer an email. So if you're using the email, or excuse me, the Inbox app, then if somebody emails you and you're not available, it will actually draft a response. So think of it like an auto reply, but a really smart auto reply, because it is actually looking at your email activity to make sure that if for some reason you're not available and a client or customer emails you, it will send a response, something, I'm currently away from my desk, but I'll be in touch with you soon. So I think in terms of that type of technology, that it's important to still use email marketing as a way to market your business. But again, we want to make the user at the end of the day feel appreciated and feel like they're gaining something from our emails versus, as Roland described earlier on, something that we don't want to turn off people.
It's all what you're driving at, Molly, is the relevance and the relationships. Relevance and relationships determine whether an email is legitimate or not. And really, what I'm addressing is that I'm getting these types of subject line addressing from people who are not relevant to my life, and they're just assuming that I am. So I think the big issue that I have is the deception. It's very deceptive when people try to be something that they're not. And if they're not your friend, they have no business implying that, hey, I'm your friend. And that's part of the problem I have with email marketing. And Susan makes the comment, I don't mind the last chance or limited seat subject lines. Sometimes they help me prioritize which emails to open. And then I quickly scan to see if it's something that I really want to read or not. And I agree with you totally, Susan. And I don't even mind being prompted by somebody that I legitimately want to be on their list and have opted in on. I want to be notified. Even if I say, nope, it's not for me, it's okay. I'll be open to reading another subject line from that very same source. But it's the ones that is not true that bugs the crap out of me. So it's all about relevance and it's all about relationships and whether it's something that it's worth it or not. And I think the marketers on the other side are looking at it like you can use this strategy and take the chance, and just in case they want to open it up, this will encourage them to open it up. It's not so much that you've segmented your list and targeted your people so that the email applies to the people that you sent it to. That's targeted email, and that makes sense. Then you can use subject lines that are more like that, and it makes sense because you know who you're sending to. But I'm getting email blasts, and email blasts I have a problem with. Now, the other thing that you mentioned was artificial intelligence. We are in the age of machine learning. Machine learning is basically machines starting to become artificially intelligent so they act more like people and less like a machine. And so it's not so much just a matter of the programming. The programming has stepped up so completely that machines are becoming more aware of the people who are using them, more aware of the lifestyle and type of things, the actual modus operandi of the people who are searching and knowing what it is that they're looking for, and the artificial intelligence can respond more humanly and appropriately, and that's what where machine learning comes in. Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, I have a quick comment on that. Last week, the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, issued the annual Google letter. This is the very first time that the Google letter has been written by anyone other than Larry Page and Sergey Brin. So that in itself was a big deal. But what was interesting about the letter is it addressed, where is Google going? What are they investing in? What technologies are they going to move towards? And it was mentioned that mobile and machine learning and artificial intelligence, that is the direction that they're going. And I think if we know as business owners that, okay, if Google is taking the time to invest in mobile, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, it probably might be a good idea for me to check it out, because it's not something that's going to go away. It's something that as a business grows, if they embrace the technologies that are out there that are being invested in, then, you know, in regards to email marketing, as I mentioned earlier, the smart reply, it's something that you should check out because it is created to help a business. In fact, going back to mobile, it's one of those things that is one of why we have smart reply, because it's looking for ways to help a business run their business when maybe they're out doing a marketing campaign, or maybe they're with a client, or maybe they're just not available. So it's coming up with these different technologies so that it's actually helping a business owner in terms of when they may not be available. So I just quickly wanted to mention that that's one of the things that Google itself is moving towards, is mobile, artificial intelligence, and machine learning.
Cool. Now, Susan has made another comment that I wanted to bring up. And also, Deborah made one too that I'll bring up. And Deborah says, regarding comment subject lines, one that is getting me good open rates and return on investment is, I don't want to work 45 years like my parents, do you? Now, I think that's fair enough, because if that's not saying, hey, pal, I'm your buddy, and you've been waiting for this response, and I'm getting back to you, so please open this email. I feel totally different between that and what you just brought up. I don't want to work, because the subject matter, no matter who you are, would make me agree with your subject matter. But I will say this, Deborah, it sure sounds like a leader, and it sure sounds like you want to sell me something in the back end of that. So that's what would make me not want to open that up, because if you don't identify yourself, or if I don't recognize your email, that subject line is pure spam. But the regard of the essence of the um, validity of your subject, if you're offering something that countermands that, I would say, well, that's a better approach. But the bottom line is, there are thousands of these opportunities out there, and you're just one of them. So it still becomes spam. But if you're getting good open rates, got to use what works. Now, Susan Joy Schlief says, in terms of spam, I sometimes see subject lines that are very relevant and something I would be interested in, but I don't recognize the sender. I mark those as spam, even though part of me wants to open it, because I don't want to encourage spammers. And interestingly, Susan, I agree with that, but I also disagree. Part of where I'm coming from, I inspect the subject line, and if it's good enough to make me want to open it, I go ahead and do, because I want to see, well, okay, what is their solution to the issue that they bring up. And I think the magic of a good subject line is to bring up something that causes people to open, and then gives them a good solution or something to do in response to the very subject that made you open it. What do you think, Molly?
I think there is a strategy behind email marketing. Neil Patel, if you don't know who he is very well known for his email marketing. And the reason he's well known for it, and why he has been very successful, is because of the fact when he sends out an email blast, he's not trying to sell you something in the email. What he's trying to do is he's trying to share information. And when we can take a different strategy instead of taking that email and putting it in front of somebody and trying to sell them something versus sending out an email that's going to help somebody with information, then there's an opportunity to create a relationship. And when you take that opportunity and you create that relationship, then there's the opportunity that the next time the sender sends an email, that the receiver is going to open that second email and that third email and that fourth email, because they know when they open that email, they're going to learn something about whatever it is you're selling. And then once you've created that relationship with somebody, then you have the opportunity to draw them to your website or your blog, or maybe a video about what it is you're selling or what service you're able to provide. And then you open up the opportunity for a sale. And I look at email marketing as more of a long-term strategy versus a short-term strategy. Because like Roland was saying, you've got these people act now, buy today, last seat gone in an hour and things like that. That is a hard sell, and it forces somebody to make an immediate decision, and that makes that person feel uncomfortable. At least it makes me feel uncomfortable. But when we can use email marketing to create a relationship and build trust with that user and earn their opportunities to learn from us, then when we create the relationship and they trust us and they learned about us and what it is we do or sell or service that we provide, then it creates the opportunity that, well, maybe they need our service. And when they think about, oh, I need a WordPress website, well, I'm going to contact Roland because Roland's been sending me all these emails about SEO and about WordPress plugins and all this information. And then that is the time to sell somebody. So in my humble opinion, I think email marketing works, but I think it's a long-term strategy for a business owner to create a relationship with that person and then make the sale.
You really nailed it when you ended your sentence there, or your paragraph or your chapter, with the word relationship versus sale, because the concept is that the sales come if you have the relationship. So it should be all about the relationship, and you should not ever close the door or put pressure on the back end. That's not the way that's done in the year 2016 in social media or internet marketing. Am I clear on that? I mean, I've been saying that for a couple of years now, and that's why we call inbound marketing, and the focus on structuring your inbound marketing so that you educate, provide information, and develop the relationship with the people. So we've nailed it by saying engagement marketing. And then we nailed it with saying relationship marketing. Well, it's all those things, but it's the method that you use in these marketing techniques that divide the salesman from the relationship builders. And when you're building communities and you're building relationships, you're on the right track. As soon as you start to pitch, the sales go down. When the pitching goes up, the sales go down because the distrust is there. And people say, oh, that's what they wanted from me in the first place. It totally taints the intention factor. And once the people feel that they've been lied to, you're dust. So when you come up with subject lines like, I hope you are well, and just wanted to get back to you, when you've never sent them an email in your freaking life, it's a lie. And then it's a dead giveaway. This person is trying to sell me something. So that's what I have. That's what I have against email subject lines.
I think email marketing is like the other types of marketing, video marketing, social media marketing, engagement marketing. It's all about the content. It's all about having relevant, useful, helpful content that is interesting to a user so that they're going to want to see it another on social media, or they're going to want to see another email from you, or they're going to want to see, and some of the millennials, they're open to what I call is text marketing, which is instead of getting an email, they just get a text to their phone. And I've seen a lot of doctors and dentists send me texts reminding me, hey, your daughter has an appointment or you have an appointment. And I think in that sense, it's okay to use text marketing. And then I've had other people say, oh, text marketing is just horrible, and I would definitely delete that, and I wouldn't even entertain the idea of getting a text to market something. But Twitter, I get texts from Twitter on a fairly frequent basis because I want to, because the people that are tweeting, they have interesting tweets, and I want to keep up with them. So I think in terms of looking at the different age groups, I think most millennials, they use email, but they're more open to text. The older audiences, baby boomers, the AOLers, they are still in the email world and in that realm. And I'd even say, Generation X and Y, they still are open to email marketing. But going back to just marketing in general for email, it's really about the content, and it's making sure that the content that you're sharing is relevant, it's useful, and they're going to be able to apply it. And when they start learning from you that, hey, I know if I get an email from Molly, it's going to share something interesting. Going back to Neil Patel, I've never bought anything from him, but I still open his emails because every time he sends me an email, it's something relevant to search engine optimization, which is something I'm very interested in. So I think if you can use a certain subject matter that your audience or that your customers or clients are going to be open to reading, then you're going to find more success with email marketing.
I agree totally. And by the way, I read all of Neil Patel's stuff, and he's quite good. And part of it is he's got his spirit set right. As far as when I say this, his spirit, the nature of his outreach is right. He gives to the people. He provides an education. He gives, gives, gives. And so far, I've never felt that any of his presentations to me were anything close to about selling, which allows me to vent about something else. The way I'm doing this is with the Marketing Smarties show on Saturdays. I'm teaching people what we do, what the subject of the environment is in internet marketing. We talk about internet marketing. We talk about trends. We talk about things that we do, but we've never pitched on this show. And that's just part of what we decided from the very start, that we are not going to have pitches and stuff like that. So I think I just put a friend on the shelf that I've known for about a decade now. And they say, well, gee, Roland, why did you put her on the shelf? Well, here's the reason why. I thought I knew this person. I thought we had a pretty good relationship. We did, we meet as families. She and her beau and me and my wife, we'd get together and have dinner sometimes and stuff like that. And yet we are both internet marketers. But I said to her the other day, I was promoting the show, What is the Positive, when we were going to do the Barbara Quick fundraiser, which you can check out if you like. But anyway, we were going to have Barbara Quick on the show. And so I told a friend who I thought would be interested in at least checking out something that I suggested to a friend to check out, right? I said, come watch the show. It's an online streaming media show. It's an HOA. And she goes, oh, I don't do webinars anymore because they're always trying to pitch something at me. And at the end of the show, they always want to make you buy. Now, first of all, I agree that a lot of times a webinar has a closer on the end, and they have this offer for you. And as soon as the offer is divulged, I think about the subject matter of the webinar and say, I'm out of here. Because all along, everything that they were delivering was just to get you to the end result. And that was the purpose of the webinar in the first place. But I'm thinking about what she said and the validity of her statement. Then I'm thinking about what I've been doing for the past year and a half in Smarties. And I couldn't help myself. I was offended because she's never watched the show to know that I don't do webinars. I don't qualify with what she calls webinars. And so I thought, wow, this lady just divulged how well she knows me and what she thinks about me. She thinks I'm a marketer that doesn't give a crap about the customer, even her, and would sell her something no matter what, just to get her to watch the show and maybe she'll buy. And so what it told me, I took offense, yes, and just this much offense for this short a time. And then I realized I don't have to be in contact with this lady ever again because, she basically expressed to me what the friendship was worth and what the marketing relationship was worth and was pretty much worthless. So, in spite of the fact that I thought I knew her and thought I had a relationship, it was divulged and defined by her response to me. So that was the value of that. But I'm very proud to say I've never pitched in an HOA except for a fundraiser for a friend, and that's all I've ever sold in a webinar. And I've been in a couple of other people's webinars, and they asked me, "Yeah, you got to come up with a plan of something to offer them that people can buy." So all right, I'll do that. But that's very seldom a thing that I do. I don't really support that. If people want what I have, they're going to call me, regardless of whether I put a special out there or not. So the sales tactic and the takeaway clause and all that stuff to me is internet deception, and that's why I don't like this stuff. Now we got to cover a couple other subjects, but I know that you're anxious to say something, Molly. Go ahead.
I was just going to use your example of, how a person feels, whenever they get that email that they don't want, or they're forced to watch a webinar where they're going to, be pitched. It makes you feel bad. And we don't want our leads and prospects to feel that way. We want them to feel good. We want them to be happy. We want them to feel like they got something, some information or take away something from whatever content we share. And I just want to use this example. So, I don't know if you guys remember, last week was Google Small Business Week. Get your business online. I'm a Google small business community advisor, and they have these events called Google Partner Connect events. They've hosted them for 2 years. When I mean they, I mean Google. They broadcast them from the Mountain View office in California, Google headquarters. And what I love about these Hangouts is they are designed to help small business owners in terms of a variety of different strategies, AdWords, analytics, Search Console, mobile. I mean, just a variety of different content that's designed to help. But the reason I'm sharing this is because they use email marketing. And the way they use it is if you are an agency like myself who hosted the event, right after the day after the event, they send an email out saying, "Hey, thanks so much for hosting the event. We appreciate it. We'd like to get your feedback." And then they take us to a feedback form on Google where, as an agency, I can report back to them, "Hey, this is what happened. This is what we liked. This is what we didn't like." And they learn from that. And what they do from that information is they change the next Hangout to information relevant. Like, for example, the last Hangout they had, there was an issue with people getting their kits. They send out these Connect kits that have, coffee and mugs and notepads and pens and things like that. And the thing was, is they waited really late to send them out, and some of the agencies didn't get them. And so when they sent the feedback form, my comment to them was, great event, but why do you guys wait till the day before the event to send out all this swag? Because it puts a lot of stress on the agency. They're like, I've got all these people showing up. I don't have any of my pens or notepads or anything. I don't have anything to hand out. That's going to make me look bad. And so my feedback to them was like, "Hey, do you guys think you can send this out a little bit earlier instead of the day of the event?" And so this past event last week, they did. They sent all the kits out a week in advance, which, being the person hosting the event took a lot of stress off of me because I'm not worrying, where's my event kit at? But that right there, I wanted to share that example, is that is an effective way to use email, is to get feedback from people so that we can make whatever product or service or whatever we're selling better, so that the next group of people that come along, they have a good positive experience.
Yeah, so that's great stuff, and an example of timely interactions and good communication. But before we go on, leave the subject of subject lines completely, I want to also add a comment on an opt-out message for, I want to leave this page or I want to leave this email, and you click on the thing, and then you get this pop-up that comes in, mostly on web pages, of course, that says, "Okay, I don't want to save." In other words, as the way out, they're kicking you in the butt. It's like you don't want to be smart enough to save this money. Okay, check mark this box. I don't want to save. You are such an idiot that you're going to check this box. I don't want to save. And I think that that is the worst thing that you can do is kick somebody as they're walking out the door. Because let's remember one thing: uh, good news. When people find something that they really love, they're going to tell a few friends. They're going to tell a few people that really mean something. They want to tell the people that mean something to them too, the meaningful stuff that they learn. But when they don't like you, they tell every freaking buddy. They tell everybody. People go out of their way to diss you and advertise negatively for you. So don't kick them on the way out the door. A couple of subject lines that I like, okay? And not that I necessarily caused me to buy, but these are things that indicate what good subject line matter is, plus being relevant. So the one is I'm an opt-in on Joe Vitale's uh, Law of Attraction series, but he's always trying to sell to me. But the thing that gets me to open is his subject line. He's a master at subject lines. So he wrote this one. What does what? That was it. A what does what? And so, as simple words that caused you to open an email, and by golly, I did. And of course, the subject is law of attraction, and probably this and that, and some freebies that he offers. So I read the stuff, but the subject line was inoffensive. It was very creative, and it caused me to open it. A what does what? So you don't have to come up with these highly personalized things. Geez, so and so, just because you got their name and you can put it in there, interjected automatically through a program and say, I was wondering how you're feeling today, or are you any better, or I'm just getting back to you. These are all lies. They're automated lies. So when you talk about automation, that's how automation can screw you while you're trying to be or think you are being personal. Don't fall for that. Be a little bit smarter. But the best example I have is that I got this email that was a forward from Andrew Hackett and his community. And first of all, now when I see a user-to-user email, I don't always read them all, but I at least check the subject line and I'm attentive to what it is. So I don't automatically delete anything from Andrew or from user-to-user live. It's good. It's all good stuff. Because I'll tell you why I do. Because Andrew has a community that gives and is not based on, he doesn't have anything to sell you. He does reports on technological software and products, and he talks about how to do things and what the trends are, and he's very, very giving with all of that. So in general, I just open his stuff. But the last one I got from him is, if you are using Chromebox for meetings, ... So it's right to the point. Are you using Chromebox for meetings? When you're conducting business, are you using Chromebox, or these facilities? And if that's targeting you, you're going to open that dang email right freaking now. But it's so the emphasis that I want to promote here is that he's got a list. It's called a circle. It's called a Google Plus circle related to his community. And the community serves as a list. So you don't necessarily need an email list, but you have to use something that's equitably the same. And he is using circles from a community as his email promotion list. So he's demonstrating with his community how we should be using lists to promote ourselves in an educational fashion. And this is how I feel about Andrew Hackett as a result of that. Whereas the average email marketer is just concerned with the return on investment and trying to get the sales and dollars up, and doesn't give one iota compared to what Andrew and his bunch of people do. Go ahead, Molly.
I was going to add to what you were saying about using communities. Yeah, that's a really brilliant tactic, because a lot of email marketers, they tend to focus just on email. You know, how can I collect email addresses? How can I use my email to get more customers? But there are a variety of ways to get email addresses. You can use Google Communities, like you just pointed out. You can use social media marketing. You could use a landing page. You could use video marketing, where you could select people, you know, hey, drop your email in the comments so I can get more information to you. You can use your Google Plus profile. There's so many different ways you can solicit the information, but before you solicit the information, as you pointed out, you have to give them something. Everybody wants to feel like they got a freebie, because when they feel like they got something for free, that's going to open up that relationship to where they're going to be comfortable giving you their email address. And that's why whenever I try to curate my posts, I try to share information. Now, I like to talk about search engine optimization, mobile marketing, things of that nature, but I try to present a topic and then a problem and then a solution. Because if you can communicate solutions to problems that marketers have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about marketing, it could be about whatever it is, whatever product or service you sell. But if you show case studies and you solve problems or you give information, that person's going to feel like they got something from you. And when they feel that connection that, hey, I learned something about SEO from Molly today, or I learned something about WordPress from Roland today, I might be more inclined to give you my email address because I want to hear back from this person, because they're probably going to share more information, share more solutions. And from that, that's when the relationship starts, and that's when you have the opportunity. I know Andrew, we're both Rising Stars over in the Hangouts forum, and I think we had him on the show. It was about almost a year ago. But you know, he is one of those people out there that he just gives information about digital marketing. And when you can use that strategy to help people, they in turn are going to turn around and help you in terms of your business, in terms of they may not need your product or service, but if they hear somebody who does, they're going to recommend you. And I have had this happen time and time again, where somebody in my network will know somebody that needs one of the services I offer, and they will turn around and they go, you need to contact Molly. She's the person you need to talk to. And it's when you build that reputation, the online reputation like I've talked about before, that's when you're going to be able to use something like email marketing to help your business and get information out to people so that they can learn to trust you as a trusted authority on whatever subject, you know, product or service you offer. And then in terms of that, that's when you're able to use email as a tool to make the sale.
The authorities are the ones that give the most, not the ones that sell the most. And you know, when we're looking at the market in internet marketing, we take a look and say, who can get me the positioning of being able to sell the most? I want to sell the most that I can. So who can help me sell the most? And usually these are the people who are going to give you the old style, old school business advertising promotional strategies and tactics that are exactly what is rejected out of the social media market today. So I can't make this clearer that when we talk about the paradigm shift that's gone on in marketing, this is it. This is it. How to be personal, you got to be personal. How to be how to conduct relationships, you have to be in the relationships. You cannot use the catchword of, oh yeah, engagement marketing and relationships, and not actually do it. So if you're going to use the terms, make sure you know what you're talking about, because it bugs the crap out of me when people talk about engagement marketing but don't know what an engagement process is, or what a two-piece relationship with with comments going two ways and helping people in two ways, what that relationship amounts to. And go ahead, Molly, you had something?
Yeah, I wanted to add to what you're talking about, engagement marketing and email signatures. It astounds me the number of people that do not utilize their signature to tell people who they are. If you get an email from me, you're going to see videos, you're going to see all my social profiles, They're going to see a list of some of the accomplishments that I've done in terms of what I've done with Google. I've got a couple of YouTube videos where variety of different managers have gone on there and whatever award it was I won. But you're going to learn about me. You're going to find out, who is Molly? What does she do? Why should I trust her? And the signature of your email is a perfect opportunity to do that. If you've got awards or degrees, or you've taken a minute or you've taken 30 seconds to just do a quick YouTube video saying, hey, I'm so-and-so. I provide such and such. Check out my website at such and such. Tell people who you are and what you do. And that, for me, was a strategy I used a long time ago. When I first went into business, I thought, I've got this Freddie Mac award. I should probably tell people about it. That's going to build my credibility. Or, hey, it was named Google Rising Star. Probably want to add that to my email signatures so people know, hey, this person knows what she's talking about. And so you can do that too. You can add information if you've got degrees or certifications, or like I said, if you've done a quick video about yourself and a quick video introduction, include those links. Your social media links should be on every single email. Now in Gmail, I use Gmail as my email client. It has a way to go in and you can prefabricate a signature, and I've went to a lot of effort. I took the little logos and I linked them, and you click on the link, it's going to take you to my Facebook page or my Twitter or my LinkedIn. But when you do that, it creates the opportunity for that person to learn more about you, because if they can learn more about who you are and what you do, again, there's another opportunity that they're going to be more inclined to opening up an email from you.
That's a great idea. What you're talking about with the signature is a subject of branding as opposed to selling. And when people, Joy Schleif, Susan makes a comment there. You're absolutely right, Roland. Nobody wants to be sold, and the concept is everybody's buying. There's more purchasing online going on than ever before. Everybody loves to buy, but everyone also hates to be sold. And we have been saying that for a year and a half. So when you start pitching, when the sales go up and the pitching goes up, the sales go down. When the pitching goes up, the sales go down. So I think we beat that up pretty good, and we can let that go for now. And there are 2 or 3 subjects that I wanted to just touch on because we're out of time. And the first thing is regarding email marketing. What's happening to text-only emails, in your opinion, Molly? And I know that we don't have much time to go into this, but I'd like your briefest feedback, because I think text-only emails is on the way out, and people like Rick Mulready he's the master of texting emails, but that's a very, very specific and old methodology that I don't know really works anymore. What do you think?
My advice on that is what I've talked about in terms of video. And I know there's some people out there, they don't want to get on a video, they don't like the way they look or their voice sounds or whatever. Me personally, as a user, if I'm opening up an email or text or looking at something online, I'm going to be more inclined to watch a video than I am instead of reading through a bunch of text. Because as a user, and this is across the board for most users, they're there to obtain information. And the more quickly they can obtain the information, the better chance you're going to have to present the information in video format. And so, in my opinion, I think people should be using pictures, videos. I'm kind of turned off by text-only emails, just because there's so much we can be doing. Or we can include pictures or videos. Like I said earlier, social media links. There's so much different content out there. And this is something else that I always try to think of. I try to think of the user. What are they going to like? Are they going to like a picture? Are they going to like a video? Are they going to like links? And so what do? I include all of it. I include all of it because I figure, if I present a variety of different options for a user to access my information, I'm probably going to have a better chance of them actually clicking through and visiting my landing page or my blog or my social media, whatever it is I'm trying to market towards them. So that's that's my opinion, is use different types of content.
Wow. Let's see if I can wrap up email marketing in 2 minutes or less. Well, for one thing, the concept of email marketing hasn't gone away, and you need to consider whether it's right for you to be an accent to what you're doing on your marketing trend or not. And this is something that's still, the jury's out on this. I don't know. I've had no feedback from the millennials or the YZ generations. Are you using email or are you not? And if you are, how do you use it? And why do you use it? What value is it to you? I'd like to know. So if anyone can answer that, if you're a millennial, if you're under the age of 35 or 30, or if you're a teen even, tell me why email is of any value to you. Now, the other thing is this regarding email, the big list thing, the big list concept, that's out the door, because the bigger the list, the less relevant it is. And so when you get a big enough list, you can market the hell out of the people, but they're going to start responding less and less and less. And so the idea of an email list is selection, chosen few, relevance, and targeting your message so that it meets worth something. So focus on the chosen few and be everywhere they turn. If you have 500 people on your list, right to the 500. If you've got 10,000, more power to you. You're playing a numbers game, and that's just not my style. Now, the couple of things to consider in email, and I want to leave you with this message, is that email is catching up to the technology of this era. We're in year 2016. We talked about the last 4 or 5 years, how technology has changed so much. Email has been lagging behind because for the last 4 or 5 years, we thought, how do we get a video in email? And the closest we can do for that is with Gmail people to Gmail people, we can show a YouTube link and it'll play that video right in the email. But it can't be personalized. It's got to be general, and it's not very specific in that respect, because you don't want to make a YouTube video just so that you can send one email to one person, or maybe a group of people. But then you're relying on the fact or the probability that they all have Gmail accounts and check their Gmail every day. There's still a lot of Yahoo stuff out there, MSN. There's a lot of other I think there's even an AOL still. Is AOL even still happening? Anyway, you get my drift. There's a lot of people who don't necessarily have Gmail accounts, and if they don't, they can't see that video. But here, I think, is the solution. We're moving towards the concept of machine learning and a thing called kinetic emails. And what are kinetic emails? Not enough time today to talk about it, but it's something that I've been studying for a little while. And I know that if I stay in the marketing field, I know I'm going to have to address this more personally. But kinetic emails are the advanced technology being applied to email. In other words, text only is not necessarily the best way to go anymore, nor is it a restriction that we had for years since the inception of the internet. Because the technology is that in emails, we can now apply HTML5 and CS3 technology. And so the internet technology that enhances the internet in general this year is going to start pertaining to emails, which means we're going to have the opportunity to infuse more of what we see in website pages and on your mobile phone and on tablets and that stuff right in the midst of emails. And it's not going to be like how big the image is and be restricted now. It's going to be more fluent and flexible, and we have new opportunities. And that is going to change the face of email forever. Now, the question is, are they going to find a way to embed email with video or not? But my question beyond that is that even a practical application? Do we want to put videos in emails? And my impression is not. And the reason I say that is we want the impression of what a video will do, but we don't want to put that huge freaking video in the email, because At the same time that we're talking about getting the message out there slow, slim, and streamlined, we're talking about we have to downsize images, we have to make them faster, we have to make it load quicker. And videos are definitely not going to do that. So anytime you embed a video, you're embedding something that's usually huge or takes more resources and time to process. So my impression is you really should start thinking about kinetic emails, which talk about the animations and short. It's like having short videos in the animation to get people to think that they're looking at a short video, but all it is an animation, which is a lot faster and a lot more streamlined than a video. So I think that what we need to do is consider what's coming down the pipe and be open to the concept of the new email. And let's pay attention to what the millennials are doing and see if indeed they're using email or not. So that's still out with the jury, and we'll give you more on that. But start researching kinetic emails because that's the thing of the future. That and CS3 and HTML5 email influence, that's going to be the thing of the future. So we have to, as marketers, at least consider it. It's always been part of my plan, but it's never been the focus because you know how much I hate subject subject lines for other things. 90% of what is dealt out to us on the internet is BS, straight up and simple. So what you want to do is be 10%, be in the 10%, be in the elite, be in the integrity-driven people who are authentic and genuine and are worth being trusted. That's the idea of marketing today. Because guess what? The people out there that are digesting all this information, they ain't buying it. And if you're deceitful and if you're deceptive, they're going to know. So my message today is back to being authentic. Just not acting like you're authentic, but being authentic, being trustworthy, being the good people you are. So do you have anything to close, Molly, or are we a wrap?
I would just say that I think email marketing is part of a digital strategy that's not going away, but at the same time, I think it's something that can be abused. We as business owners need to make sure that if you're going to use email marketing, you think of it more as a long-term strategy versus a quick sale, and just make sure that you're sharing interesting content and building relationships.
Basically, what the message of this show has been for a year and a half is avoid the ROI, get off the sales and closure and conversion bandwagon, and start providing value and focus on the relationship. It all comes back around to the same. Glad that we've been talking about the same language for a year and a half. That's it for Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. Thank you very much, people, for being in the audience and watching and for all your contributions. I appreciate that. We'll go back and read through. And by the way, you millennials and Y and Zers, you generations, get back to me on whether you're using email or not. Okay? That's it. Thank you very much. And goodbye now from Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. Bye-bye.